This is Belmonk bringing you some old-fashioned Elden Ring invasion content.
Bye bye.
Today I want to show you a build that I have been invading with a lot in the past couple of months. The stats aren't exactly shocking, but they do matter. I choose to have Poise. Poise is the choice for gamers who don't want to get torn to shreds by one rapier hit. I have 83 on this build to tank most small weapons. This is a level 90 build with plus 19 plus 8 weapons. This allows me to match up to plus 25 while still invading down to plus 14, which provides a huge range of activity. 40 dex is enough at level 90. I have various ways to get large damage numbers from my weapons in Ashes of War, so I have points in endurance. This is a good way to do quality builds in Elden Ring. Having min-max stats allows you to use a variety of weapons that, while having better scaling when infused heavy, still give you an excess of powerful options that are usually only reserved for strength builds. 20 strength gives you access to a staggering, pun intended, number of weapons. This is one of the only builds that enables you to spec a strong character in nearly every weapon class. We have access to strength favorites Pike, Great Lance, and my sad nerfed baby base cannon. Missing out on most classals isn't that much of a downside, and in return we have access to many power stance styles because we are not as concerned with the two-handing bonus. The main weapons I have in these clips are the Keen Guardian Sword Spear, Lightning Dismounter, Power Stance Lightning Longswords, and the classic noob stick Nagakiba, usually cold infused. I have a full inventory of other weapons that I choose to use depending on the invasion and the situation. So, embrace the flexibility of a Dexterity build and enjoy the feeling of playing most of the weapons in the game. The Guardian Sword Spear is a workhorse. It has halberd poise damage, quick slashing R1s, and a running poke. It's one of the best weapons Keen with A scaling, and it has a juicy 514 AR on this build, combined with counter hit damage for punishing pokes. I keep several Ashes of War equipped on these, in particular Flaming Strike for zoning and finishing off phantoms, and Black Flame Tornado as a surprise AoE to hard swap to. The Ash of War still scales with your weapon level when Keen, so while I'm not boosting fire damage, the value of Black Flame Tornado against the ganker in tight spaces is not to be underestimated. I have the Dismounter Lightning Infused for heavy damage and as a hyper armor tool. It's the weapon with the highest AR in the build other than the Zweihander that I never use anymore. I boost the overall damage with the Lightning Physic and the Ash of War with Alexander Jarshard. Typically, I have Spinning Slash, but the influential buy units has been running Stormcaller on the Dismounter. The principle is the same. On a hugely damaging weapon, multiple hits in a 306 area of effect is a surefire answer to outnumbered aggression. I spam Spinning Slash on the Nagakiba as well. It has more speed and range. I have Cold Affinity to cause dual status and generate more pressure against ganks. Some weapons scale very well with Cold on Dexterity. Nagakiba gets a B at this weapon level. Feel free to main this one. I don't use it as much anymore as I fell into experimenting with other weapons, but it's a powerful option. Some say too powerful.
Oh wow. Has like cherry? Oh, what is that? What is going on here? Okay. Hold the furled finger down, on the host. Easy game. All three of you fucks died to the Nagakiba.
With all these AoEs and traitor trapping moves, just be careful of when and where you're trying to turn and burn.
Interesting latency. Ah! Oh, this is the only one.
One of the most effective setups on the build is the Power Stance Lightning Longswords. Even though Storm Stomp has been nerfed, it still gets the nod for its utility against groups. The scaling on these is higher than Noble Slender for lightning, and with the physic, I can get some really high damage numbers. Power Stance Straight Swords are ultra fast with really low recovery. They have a few different options for roll catching in spite of their relatively limited range. Suffice to say, the pressure that this damage creates can get you out of a lot of hairy situations. I have a video about that, check that out. Every invasion build needs to have a distance tool, and this is by far one of the most attractive things about this build. Bolt of Granola Snacks, the ultimate dexterity cheese weapon. At a certain point as an invader, you need to realize that sometimes cheese is necessary. If you can dodge a bolt, you can dodge a ball. Vigor check people with this and drain their Estus. Especially valuable in the open world and when people are running. Never run away.
That was a good fun.
The Stormhawk axe shines on this build as well. The Ash of War scales with Dexterity, and you drink the Lightning Physic for maximum chunking. There's a lot of other options. If you like to lean into meta things, it can do Bleed Affinity, Curve Swords shown here,
Don't know what's up with this.
or you can have a damaging lance setup and do your best G9 impression.
Easy gaming.
So, is this build meta? Is it the future? Is it the truth? OP real? Well, like many Dexterity builds through the years and from games, Dexterity is a bit underrated and underappreciated as a quality approach compared to Strength. The two-handing bonus has an allure that is hard to pass up, and people rightly love the feeling of swinging Colossals around. You do get the Zwei, which is the best one anyway. We can use bad weapons like daggers and twin blades, and we can use weapons like great spears and straight swords. You can bleed or frost people, or you can play the game fair and go all in on damage. Making this build is really quite simple in PvE, as you have many tools to boost Dex early, so you have access to decent damage pretty much right away for your level. Many of the weapons I use can be farmed early, and the stat spread allows as much depth as any build in the game. Lightning is powerful. People have the lowest resistance to it, and Dexterity gives you scaling on lightning pots, lightning affinity, and powerful somber weapons. This invasion shows the use of the new breath and people fighting in a cowardly manner. But oftentimes when people are fighting this way, it's the hardest type of invasion to win, because they almost never, ever, ever fight you one-on-one. It turns into a battle of attrition.
Guys.
Begging them for a fight. And eventually, they are forced into one. So, enjoy the rest of this clip. Thanks very much for watching. Please like and subscribe for more Elden Ring PvP content.